Oh, this is new. Hello everybody, my name's Michelle, aka the Giddy Stitcher, and I'm excited to be joining Carrie this weekend for 24 hours of cross stitch. If you don't already know me, I am a proud multi-crafter who mainly cross stitches but also knits, crochets, sews a little bit, occasionally makes soap and even 3D prints dice. And I love to share that all on my own YouTube channel as well as Instagram. Now, there's no time to waffle, we've all got a lot of stitching to do this weekend, and I will be back here soon for a few getting to know you questions and answers. See you soon!
Hi! Thanks Michelle for that great introduction. That, as she said, that's Michelle, aka the Giddy Stitcher. We did a little bit of Q&A and getting to know each other over the course of the 24 hours of cross stitch this weekend to break up the monotony, and I had a lot of fun with that. And her answers to our mutual questions will be showing up later on in the video. Unfortunately, this is probably like the first time that I'm not psyched up to be recording. I'm not excited to be sharing, and the only reason is because this was already done. I filmed a vlog. I loved the way it turned out. I was really happy with it. There were some adorable Lexi moments. There was just some of that real stuff that happens while you're stitching that you can't really recreate just by telling about it. And as I was getting done with the editing, I was done with the editing. I was completely done with the editing, and I was rewatching it one last time before I uploaded it to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And as I did that, I saw that there are several places where I thought I had blocked out things behind me that I'm not comfortable having like out there in a public video, my full name being one of them. But like pictures, degrees, things like that hang in my craft room that I didn't realize were in the frame. So I decided, as much as I love it, to scrap the whole thing, because without those clips it didn't really work, and I'm just not comfortable with that information being out there. Not that it couldn't be found if people didn't look hard enough, but I'm not gonna make it that easy. So yeah, I've ended up scrapping the whole vlog. Maybe I will sneak some highlight clips in at the end, because like I said, she was really cute a couple of times. So here we are, doing a regular floss tube with the bonus of a special guest at the end, because I am still gonna put Michelle's answers in here. The other complication is I keep notes on my phone about things that I want to talk about on my floss tube, and then I usually transfer them to paper before I start recording so that I can keep track. And this time I deleted the note from my phone as I talked about them in the individual vlog clips, so I don't have them anymore to make a list. And I'm used to kind of winging these things. I usually do. I never know what I'm going to say until I say it, so how would anyone else? But I'm really working without a net now, in that I don't have any notes at all. And so I'm sure there are going to be lots of, oh, I forgot to tell you, and splicing things back in later. And apologies in advance, but you know what? We do the best we can with what we've got, and this is what I've got. So here we go. I'll just go ahead and follow the standard floss tube procedure. So we'll start with whips, we'll move on to haul, or we'll move on to plans, then we'll move on to haul, and then we'll do pop culture updates and life updates at the end. Although I gave you some of it right now with the vlog shenanigans. So, all right, we'll dive right in. First off, I have a finish. For the 24 hours of cross stitch, I did manage to get one thing finished, which, if you're keeping track, that puts me halfway to my my goal of having 2 done before August 1st so that I can start the cryptid stitch along. Because remember, and I've stuck with it for a month now, so this is like some sort of record for me. But I made myself a goal that I have to have 2 finishes before I have any new starts, with the exception of the Cozy Cafe Cell that I will be starting in September regardless, because that is something that I'm doing with my friend, and we set that a long time before I ever set that goal. So for the Cryptid Cell, starting on August 1st, I have to have 2 things done, 1 down. And that is Words to Live By, Part 9, and here it is. Today is a good day to have a good day. This is one of my favorite squares in this entire thing. I love the little mountain scene with the water running through and the trees, and that also made it one of the most stitch heavy of the pieces, but it's done. I love it. 2 down, 11 to go with these. Then I will be able to quilt them, provided I learn how to quilt. Also on my to-do list. So that was my finish. Next up are whips. I'm going to go through the ones that will be put up shortly first, and then we'll go into the ones that I am doing active ongoing work on. So the first one is for Crystal Academy. A couple weeks ago, one of the whips that I'd chosen for one of the types of spells is the Witch's Spell from Autumn Lane Stitchery. And if you'll remember, the last time I showed it to you, it looked like this. And it came up, so this was the 2-week period for this spell to come up, and when that happens to get all 5 levels of mastery, it ends up being 750 stitches. So here's what that looked like on the Witch's Spell for me. There you go. I really love this piece. This was also the one that I used for Dark 13 stitching this month because it happened to fall during the time that I was working on this spell, so I just did the stitches on this one. But yeah, I love the colors. This is done on 16 count Atlantis by Bestitch Me. I've mentioned before though, it seems like every time I've ever seen this otherwise, it looks more blue than this is decidedly got a green appearance. But that's the thing with hand-dyed fabrics, you never know how the dyes are gonna break. But it ended up being perfect for this piece, and I absolutely love it. The little poppets hanging in the trees behind, like the detail in the background, I just love on this one. I think it's awesome. So there's the Witch's Spell. The next one I worked on for the next series of spells, I had chosen Tiny Modernist's Celestial Sampler, the Zodiac Cell, I call it. And the last time you saw it, I was still working on Aquarius, and here is what it looks like. And here's where I am now. I finished Aquarius, and so I've moved on to Pisces. So here is the overall, what I have done so far. And I'll move it in a little bit so that you can see Aquarius. And then there's Pisces, just barely started. So this will probably go up until the next time that I need it for Crystal Academy, but it is definitely on the list of ones that I'm going to get back to sooner rather than later as I start finishing some other projects and pulling down new ones to work on, because I really love the colors on this one. This one is done on 16 count Phantom by Picture This Plus, which actually also has some purple in it. Let me see if I can show you where that is. I got a piece that didn't have very much purple in it, but I still love the way that it looks. I'm really excited for this one. So yeah, it's going to get moved up the whip list relatively quickly, I think, as other things get finished. Not to mention it's huge. All right, then on to the ones that I have been consistently working on, or that I'm actively working on, because This very next one has not been consistent at all. I finally got to pull out We Do Disney for a change. And the last time you saw this weeks and weeks ago, it's been several weeks, maybe over a month since the last time I worked on it. Here's where it was. And here's where it is right now. So you can see what I did. I finished the word worries, and then I started in on the next line, which is actually going to be some people are worth melting for. So this is the E that I've got to do the M, but then the E and then people is the rest that's on this page. This one, I wasn't planning to work on this one at all. What happened was I was working on Cinderella, to be discussed in a moment, and 24 hours of cross stitch. I'd been using Pattern Keeper a lot, and I wasn't paying attention to the battery level because you can't see it when Pattern Keeper is open on the Kindle. I don't know if on some of the other tablets you can or not, but yeah, I ran the battery out, and so it just shut down on me with an hour and a half left to go of the 24 hours. So I had to pull out something really quick, and the other thing I'd been working on for the rest of the weekend was Deal Struck, obviously also about to be talked about, which is also on Pattern Keeper. So I had to pull out something that was on paper, and this one is on paper, so that's why it got worked on. Again, I'm not too certain about worries. I'm wondering if that needs the family treatment, where I would go around it maybe with the yellow that I'm using. It might just be the light in here right now because sometimes it seems to show up a lot better than other times, or maybe even just a paler brown. I don't know. As always on this one, because it is an experiment in progress, I am open to suggestions. I actually also have one other thing that is coming up. So I'm also asking for further opinions on this one, because after some people are worth melting for, the next line down is sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. And that is from Winnie the Pooh. And I'm not sure what colors I want to do with it or what words I want to do. Originally, I had thought about doing smallest things like in Piglet colors, so like pink and then like the reddish purple for his outfit, and then most room in Winnie the Pooh colors. But that seems like an awful lot. It seems awful busy. And then I thought about doing smallest things in one color and most room in another color. And what would make the most sense would be to do the Winnie the Pooh colors, which would be the yellow and the red. The problem is the yellow I would use is this one. And so I just don't know. That seems like it might be too much, because I'll have Hakuna Matata. You can see the H is over here. Hakuna Matata all in that color, and then have the same color, like so close to it that's on the same page at a 6-page pattern. So I don't know. And then I thought about doing maybe smallest things and then doing heart and doing heart and red, but then again, still, I don't know what color to do smallest things in, because I think that'd be adorable to do like the Piglet colors, because he's the smallest thing. But and then option 3 is to write sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your, all in the B5200, and then just do heart and red. I don't know. I am open to suggestions. I'm open to trying stuff. Whatever works. Let me know what you think. All right, and the next two got the most work done over the course of the weekend. And they are, the first one up is the Perennial, the one that you will see every floss tube ever from me for the next 5.5 years. I get depressed every time I say that. I don't know why I bother. And that's Deal Struck. And I got quite a bit done on this over the last 2 weeks because I did manage to keep up my 100 stitches a day. Sometimes I had to do some catch up. This weekend I had to do, instead of the 300 stitches, I had to do 700 because all of last week, to be discussed in life updates. I didn't do any stitching for reasons. So I got 1,400 stitches in on this, at least, since the last time you saw it, which the last time it looked like this. And here it is now. So I got this entire column of the black done. I'm working on filling in the next column. This is not going to be the last of the black. There will be a little bit over here in this triangle area. And then I'm really starting to get some of this hand filled in. Again, I'm still not loving the colors, although as I've been moving down in the pattern, I can see like some of this darker stuff, that is going to be like the edges of a finger. It's kind of like the bones, if that makes sense, just based on where I can see that there's going to be some shadowing as in the spaces between the fingers coming up. So I'm going to hold on and trust on it. What I think I'm going to do with this one next is, I'm already thinking ahead, because once I finish this black, I need to, if I'm going to continue doing like black and then color and then black and then color, I need to figure out where I'm going to go next. I think I'm going to work this in diagonal pages. So I'm doing 1 and 2, and then the next one will be 8. So it'll be that diagonal, and then 2 and 8 will be the diagonal. And then I'll do 3, 9, and 15. So that gets a lot of these edge pages out of the way. These edge pages that are all going to have all of the solid black and the dark navies, because it is all around the edges very, very dark. So that'll get a lot of those out of the way for me up front. So what I'm probably going to do when I run out of the black here is I'm going to start in on page 8, because it's 7 across, 4 rows of 7 pages. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do next. But I don't know. I've got a lot left to go, as you can see, so it'll be a while before I have to make that decision for real. And then last but certainly not least is Cinderella. This is the other one that I have the goal of trying to finish this month. So it's the 26th of July right now, so I only have 5 days left. And I've got about 700 stitches, so I'm gonna have to work my butt off, but I think I can do it. So when you last saw it, it looked like this. And I lost about 200 stitches with the pattern keeper dying on me yesterday at the very end, but I still got quite a bit done, and here is what it looks like right now. So you can see I've got almost all the sparkles filled in. There are a couple more over here, and then I am just working in this last page. I'm right in here. About 700 stitches left. And then it'll be done. And I love this one. I have been so happy with the way that it's turning out. This is rapidly turning into one of my favorites. Might have to make one for myself later. I don't know, we'll see. I say that about a lot of projects, but the thing is, I love the projects that I pick, and I guess that says something about, turn the TARDIS right side up. I guess that says something about the projects I've been picking lately, is that even the ones that are for other people, they've given me joy to work on, and isn't that the whole point? So that's what I got done this weekend over the 24 hours of cross stitch. It was a lot of stitching. And I made it at like 11:15 Sunday night. Barely made it. There was just a lot going on. So there's that. Okay, so it is time for me to introduce you to Michelle, aka the Giddy Stitcher. As I said, over the course of the weekend, and I had these spliced into my vlog in various places, but instead I think I'm just going to throw them on here in one big chunk. Michelle, because she came up with the two questions that I would have, and then I liked the other 3 so much, I was like, I can't think of anything better. So Michelle came up with all the questions. she sent them to me, and what we did was we both took some time out of our stitching this weekend to film our responses, and then I am now going to show her her responses and let you get a chance to get to know her a little bit better. And as I said, go check out her channel. She's a very new floss tuber and she could use some support. And her channel's fun. So I'm enjoying it. I think this is going to be her second floss tube and maybe her third video. I think she does a soap making video in there too. So yeah, stop by, say hi, tell her welcome. If you're interested in finding out my answers to the following questions, she's also going to have those in her recording. And without further ado, here is Michelle.
All right, here we go. So first question, what is something on your crafty bucket list? Now, this is going to make me sound like the really inexplicably inexperienced stitcher I am, despite the fact that I've been cross-stitching for 6 years now. I have been feeling the urge lately to try a full coverage piece, which is something I've never done. There's something very satisfying about, when you see people stitching the square blocks with threads parked all neatly, and I know in my heart that my attempt will not end up anywhere near that neat, but I just really feel like it's time to give it a go. So that is top of my cross-stitch bucket list at the moment. In other crafts though, I also really want to get into quilting, and I don't really know why it's not something that's ever appealed before, but I've seen a few Instagram accounts lately that have just really inspired me, and I only just recently remembered how to use a sewing machine, so that kind of seems like fate. Also, I'm naturally cold basically all the time, so that should be really fun. Full coverage and quilts, there we go. Tell us something about yourself that you've never shared on your channel or Instagram. This is actually a bit tricky because I share pretty much everything that happens to me these days, so it would need to be something really old or something really new. Okay, yes, got it. This might be cheating because it will be mentioned in my own video, but as of recording, this has never been stated in public. Breaking news! So, I never went to university at what you might call the usual age, but then after a few twists and turns adult life-wise, I ended up signing up for a degree in product design when I was 34. It was actually a lot easier than I thought to get along with the 19-year-olds on the course, which was handy, but I'm not sure what it says about my level of maturity. I try not to think about it. Anyway, I'm filming this on Sunday, and on Friday morning, just as I was settling down to start my 24 hours of cross-stitch, guess what arrived in the post? Yep, I have a degree. I'm educated now and nobody can say otherwise. We were in the middle of our second year when the situation upended everything, so honestly I'm just really proud of myself and all my course mates for sticking it out and making it this far. We're officially educated! Yay! What was your biggest craft success and your biggest craft fail? Okay, I wrote this question, but it's still a tricky one to answer. No one project stands out to me as a big success. But what I think I will say is that over the last most of a decade, I've picked up a ton of crafts. Things that I always had my eye on, but either didn't have the money or, I was still a kid and didn't have the materials, or I just always thought one day I'll get round to these. And finally I have, so I started learning to knit first and then crochet and then cross stitch, and now I'm getting back into sewing and just all these things. And I find a lot of people say, oh, you're really clever, I don't think I could do that. So I think my greatest craft success is probably just believing that I can do things, and just this kind of obnoxious attitude that if I want to learn something, I will be able to do so. And it's served me well so far. That probably sounds super arrogant, but I've said it now and I'm just going to leave it. Whatever. Judge me if you like. As for fails, I think the obvious answer there is the pile of knitted shawls that is currently on the bottom of my wardrobe. I don't even wear shawls, so that was a failure in pattern selection, first of all. Some of them were a real failure in yarn selection as well, so I have, for example, a shawl made out of cotton that doesn't stretch and is kind of heavy, just because that's what I had on hand at the time and I didn't really know better. I have shawls with really glaring, obvious mistakes that I was just too lazy at the time to pick out and redo. And of course, I think at least half of them are probably far too small because I just get bored and cast off far too early. That shawl pile is the very definition of what am I doing with my life. Everything about it is a fail. If you were a shade of DMC, which shade would you be? Oh, and why? Okay, for this one, I am going to go with DMC 3835. I think that's right. Checking my notes. 3835, yes. So this is a shade of purple, which I picked because it represents my inner goth. But it's also low-key kind of pink. So it sort of straddles those two worlds, which I thought fit to represent myself. Also, I used to be really, really shy in my younger days, like really painfully shy. But nowadays I'm kind of proud of how I can just get to know people, find something in common to latch onto, and get along with almost anybody. I think that's taken a real long time for me to learn how to do, and it makes life so much easier. In projects I've stitched where I need to find a substitution for something even anywhere near this shade, I keep going back to it because it's so pretty, and it always works out well. So, as well as being inner goth, low-key pink, it also represents being able to get along with everybody. See, I totally thought about this question. How deep is that? Okay, final question. What's something you dislike about cross-stitch? Oh, do not even get me started. Is it the sheer amount of time that it takes? Is it the fact that I'm always finding little bits of embroidery floss in my hair? Or, ooh, how hard it is to keep the back of a piece neat? Spoiler alert, I very rarely even try anymore. Actually, no, I think the thing that bothers me most about cross-stitch is also a problem with some of my other crafts, and that is that it stops me from reading. I used to be really into reading and I would get through a couple of books a week minimum, but nowadays my hands are always busy, right up until bedtime. And that's great because I enjoy it and I'm making beautiful things, but I do miss reading and it's been kind of bugging me. This weekend during the 24-hour marathon, I've been listening to an audiobook of Lord of the Rings, which is great. And so I think audiobooks are probably the answer there. If this isn't allowed to count because it's a potentially solved problem, then I nominate my backup problem, which is constant tangles and knots. There we go. This was really fun, and those questions made me think harder than I expected. Thanks to Carrie for having me. Thanks to you for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me. Have a brilliant day, and do remember to check out my channel for Carrie's answers to these same questions after you finish watching this video. Bye!
Plans for this week. Crystal Academy, since I finished the Zodiac, I don't have a spell I need to work on for that. So it'd be my extra credit, which is Deal Struck. So I will get a few stitches in for that. Magical Stitches, I'm done with the prompt for that. It was also a 2-week prompt and I finished that this weekend as well. So I can do whatever I want. What I want is to work on Cinderella. I'm going to get my 100 stitches in on Deal Struck, and then I'm going to work on Cinderella every night until it's done. I haven't done the math yet, but if I've been doing what I was supposed to, then it should still be like 150 stitches a night. Maybe even less than that, because it's 5 nights and 700 stitches. 140 stitches a night. 140 stitches a night will do it. And then if I still have any other stitching time, probably we'll work on We Do Disney. or on Grimm's, because those are the two gifts, one of which will be my focus piece starting in August. And I'll pull out another small so that I can continue working on those, so that I can continue starting new projects without feeling like I'm constantly adding to my pile. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a nice quiet week. After 2 weekends ago was the Black Needle Society retreat, the night garden, which was a lot of fun, although for my introverted behind, it was not even introverted. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save that. Go over to the Giddy Stitchers page and I talk a little bit about that. But Black Needle Society retreat, a lot of fun, but kind of intense in that way that a lot extended periods of stitching are. And then 24 hours of cross stitch, obviously samesies. Did I just say that? Ugh, I'm sorry. Obviously the same. So yeah, it's gonna be nice to have like a relaxing week for a change, where I can just kind of piddle around and do what I want. I'm sorry, my throat is bothering me a little bit today, so if it seems like I'm talking a little bit funny, I'm not feeling great. I'm actually supposed to be at work right now, but I am not feeling great at all. So, I mean, my head stopped hurting enough that I could get out of bed, and then I realized I had to re-record my Flosstube. Haul. First off, Black Needle Society retreat, I won a prize! And it just arrived today. So this is what I got. It is Art Nouveau Rose, designed by Karen Kluba for Rosewood Manor. And then there it is. Definitely not something I'd pick out for myself, but I kind of like it. So yeah, I look forward to getting a chance to work on it. So thank you, Katie and Laura. And I had a lot of fun. Then next up are a couple of other things I got. I was watching Michelle Bendy's Flosstube, and she was showing off some of her new patterns, and I saw this one and I absolutely had to have it. And she said that Top Knot Stitcher already had it in stock, so I went in and I ordered it. And this is Summer Witches. Flosstube and itchy noses every time, I tell you. It's Halloween, it's the beach, it's both in the same picture. If this doesn't scream Carrie, I don't know what does. So yes, I had to have this one. With this is charted mostly in DMC, but it actually has a few color and cotton flosses, 4 of them to be exact. And when I went on their website, 2 of them were in stock and 2 of them were not. So here they are, the 2 that were in stock. There's Antique Rose, and Bumblebee. And I have an email in that I should be informed when the other 2 colors are in stock, so that I will order them then. So that is Summer Witches and the fancy flosses that I didn't have in order to get to work on it. And then the last one was I ordered the pattern and the flosses for the Betty White sale that will be coming up at the beginning of next year. What Betty White sale, do you ask? Well, the one that I will be hosting. As we were talking in the chat rooms during the Black Needle Society, we got on the subject of the Golden Girls and Betty White, and someone mentioned that she would be turning 100 in January 2022. And I made the comment that sounds like something someone should do a sale for. And it actually got, like, there were some people that talked about doing it. In fact, they had they recommended a pattern for it. So I've decided I'm going to go, and I really wish whoever you are that I was talking with this about, please drop in, because I got so turned around, like trying to get to know everybody, and I think I remember who it was, but I am not 100% sure, and I don't want to say the wrong name. So if you happen to be watching this and you were in the room and you remember who it was that I was talking with this about, who suggested this pattern, please let me know so that I can properly thank them. Or if you are that person, please let me know, but thank you. So in January 2021, I am going to host a Betty White 100th birthday sal. And the pattern that I've chosen to use, I think I'm going to make it open to any pattern that reminds you of Betty White. Most of them are going to be Golden Girls, but any pattern that you find that you want to stitch for this sal, you're welcome to. But I think the official one that I'm going to be using is Giddy Stitcher's Walk Fast Sampler. And it's a Rose Nyland quote from the Golden Girls. It's like that old Scandinavian saying, you can lead a herring to water, but you have to walk fast or he'll die. So here is the one I am going to be doing for the Betty White sal. And it is all done in Classic Colorworks Fancy Flosses. So I ordered those. And I think I have all of them. So this is Root Beer Float. I think I'm going to keep this card out because this is great for showing off flosses and fabrics and getting the true color, because that's the secret, is like sticking them on white. This is Bramble Bush. I love the variegations in this one. Amber Waves, which I'm pretty sure I have for another project, so now I've got two of them. But they're probably not the same dye lot, so. Cocoa Bean. Sunset, again, I love the subtle variegation in this one. Cherry Tomato. Lettuce Leaf. Meadow Green. Almost exactly the same color. They've got some subtle differences though. And my absolute favorite, Bejeweled. And you can kind of see some of the variegations in that too. So yeah, stay tuned if you're interested for that to be coming in January. Plenty of time to think about it. So that's my little bit of haul. This ends the stitching portion of the video. Stick around if you want other miscellaneous stuff. If you don't, have a great week. Hope to see you next week. Okay, pop culture. I had a lot done this week. 24 hours of cross stitch made sure of it. So I finished Bad Days in History, reading wise. It was very good. I really liked it. The checkout time on my copy of The Final Empire, the Mistborn trilogy, expired, so I got it back, but I haven't finished that. I've got about 5 hours left on that audiobook. Same thing is happening with Small Gods, which I was reading by Terry Pratchett. That one expires today, and I'm nowhere near done with it, so I'll have to re-request it, because unfortunately with the ebooks and the audiobooks, you can't renew them. You have to re-request them. So yeah, those have been delayed slightly. I don't have much more to say about that. Watching, I finished Loki. I loved it. It was great. It has clear implications for the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack, and I'm still working on unpacking some of it between that and Black Widow. I also finished WandaVision, and I started Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I've only gotten the first episode in. The other big thing was I finished Fairy Tail. Finally. I've only been putting it off for a year and a half. And predictably, I'm sad. But the nice thing about Fairy Tail was that Mashima did not intend to write a sequel, but he did. And he storyboarded it, and he's not drawing it. Someone else is drawing it, but there's a new manga, Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. And so it's the same characters, and it's a sequel to Fairy Tail. And I read the first volume, and I've got the second volume. So it's not goodbye. But I did go back and binge most of the first season of Fairy Tail when I finished some of my other watching and stuff this weekend. Completely new both starts and finishes since the last time that I talked to you. I did, and I know that Bobo Stitch and Quilt, Jessie, you really enjoyed this one, and that was Demon Slayer. And it was so good. Oh, by the time I got to the end, I have to admit, I wasn't too terribly impressed when it started. And it may have just been the frame of mind that I was in as I started watching it. But it just wasn't grabbing me. But by the end, when I realized I was on the last episode, and I'm like, what? Well, no, this can't be the last episode. So I'm really hoping that the film, if it's not available in the United States, which I have a hunch it's not yet, will become available soon, because they left getting on, and I have to know what happens next. And I guess there's always the manga I could read too. See, this is what I hate. I do all of these, I watch these anime, and they don't, like, for some of the really long ones, they'll do like a compressed season that just covers a little bit of it, and then I have to know what happens. And then I end up reading the manga, and then I get stuck where I am, like right now with Yona and Black Butler and Blue Exorcist, where I need to know what happens next, and my library has no more. Like, I am waiting for them to get the next volumes of the manga. So I started and finished that one. And then the other one, which was left me kind of in the same vein, was the Netflix dropped the Masters of the Universe Revelation. So good. I really enjoyed that one also. It was a really cool, because it's designed to be a sequel to the show that I watched as a little kid. So it was interesting to see the characters in like different lights and past what it was when I watched it as a child, and it focuses on one of my favorite characters. So I really enjoyed it, but I thought it was very interesting in the way that it handles loss and change, and again, when I got to the end, first of all, it was only a 5-episode season. Are you kidding me? And so when I got to the end of the 5th episode, I'm like, why did they do that, like, in the middle of a season? How are we? And then I realized that it was the last episode of the season. And I'm like, all I can say is there better be a season 2. There better be a season 2. If Netflix decides to cancel this without renewing it, I'm going to be upset. Because even if I didn't like it, I couldn't leave it there at this point. I think that is it. Again, I don't have my list with me because I deleted it the first time I did this, but I don't think there was anything else. So, life updates. Everything sucks and I hate it. That's not completely true. I had a unbelievably bad day at work, unbelievably bad week at work last week. I need to go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Like I said, my throat is really bugging me. And I didn't expect to talk quite this long. So yeah, it's just a really rough week at work. And I'm frustrated. And I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, obviously I can't go into too much detail. But it's just... I feel like everything is imploding right now. Well, that's kind of a downer. Let's see. Good stuff? Good stuff. Good stuff. Everything is not as horrible as I make it out. It's just last week was really stressful, and with the 24 hours of cross stitch, I didn't really get to relax the way that I would have liked to, but it'll be okay. I don't really have any fun stories. I've been walking with my friend. We went on another hike. Lexi's really enjoying it. I've been enjoying doing the July Stitching Challenge on Instagram. So if you haven't checked that out, hashtag July Stitching Challenge. So that's about all I have for you today. Like I said, I may throw on a couple of my vlog posts at the end. Obviously, you're not going to get the whole thing. I really feel like I'm forgetting something, but I guess not. So anyway, I'm all done. I hope you folks all have a great week. I hope that things are going better for you than they have been for me. As to when my next video will be, I don't know. I really prefer the weekly videos. It feels like they get too long when they're 2-week videos. I don't like the hour-plus-minute videos. And I find that I usually have so much catching up to do that it's hard to keep them shorter. So I really like the weekly videos for that. What I don't like is the lack of progress sometimes. If I've had a super busy week. So I'm a little concerned about that. So I'm kind of going to play it by ear. If I have a lot of stitching get done, maybe I'll do a weekly video. If I don't, and it's been kind of uneventful otherwise, and I don't have other things I need to talk about, maybe I'll do a bi-weekly video. So, will you see me next week, or will you see me in 2 weeks? I can't tell you that. But at any rate, I will see you again, hopefully. Hopefully you liked what you saw here. And if you're new here, and you haven't yet, a like, a subscribe, a comment are all greatly appreciated. I love the chance to get to say hi back. So please feel free to drop by and shoot me a line hello in the comments. You can slide over into Instagram. Feel free to send me a message via DM. I'm at DNA Geek Crafts, same as the channel name over on Instagram. But at any rate, I hope to talk to you soon. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. See you next time. Bye. I've been reliably informed that it is time for a hug break. And maybe some kisses too. Okay, you got your love. Are you gonna go now? All right, go. Maybe just a little bit longer.